10 climate myths debunked. Scientists in the world agree that climate change is real. It's been happening and it's happening now, and it's caused by the greenhouse gas emission. Still, there are lots of myths being repeated about climate change, and even journalists can get taken in. Most climate change myths have been perpetrated by fossil fuel companies, their political analysts, and others with vested interest in the status quo. For decades, they've spent millions of dollars on advertising, myths, and lobbying to confuse the public, policymakers, and the press to forestall climate action. This has led some journalists to soften their coverage, for example, by not connecting climate change to extreme weather, leaving the public misinformed. Here are some popular myths targeted at misinforming the public. 1. That scientists do not agree about climate change. The fact is, more than 99% of climate scientists agree that human activity is overheating the planet. The scientific consensus is overwhelming and durable. Just like Kate Marvel, a NASA climate scientist, said, "We are more sure that greenhouse gases are causing climate change than we are about smoking causing cancer." Number 2, the climate change is a political hoax. The laws of physics don't care about political ideologies. Human-caused climate change is a scientific fact, as virtually every scientific institution on Earth has concluded. Political leaders across the ideological spectrum have supported action to avoid climate catastrophe even in the US Senate. National, state, and local governments of various political stripes all over the world are taking such action. 3. We can't possibly know that humans are causing climate change. The truth is, we can, and we actually do, because global temperature and CO2 levels in the atmosphere have increased in lockstep since humans began burning large amounts of coal and other fossil fuels during the Industrial Revolution. 4. The lie that climate change is always changing today is no different. Although it is true, the Earth's climate has changed before, yes, but never as rapidly as it is now. And no thanks to 250 years of burning fossil fuels. Today's human-induced rate of carbon release is unprecedented during the past 66 million years, according to a 2016 Nature study. 5. Some said there is nothing we can do about climate change, so why bother? Fact is, scientists have repeatedly declared that humanity already has the tools and technologies to stop climate change and avoid its worst impact. The IPCC synthesis report ranks the 5 key approaches that can limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Humans are going to have to live with today's hotter temperatures for many years to come, but we can still dramatically, limit future damage if we take a strong action now. Climate solutions are abundant, common sense, and often economically superior to today's practices. Many governments and businesses are already implementing green energy, mass transit, coastal resilience, and climate-smart agriculture solutions. Project Drawdown also has a long list of specific solutions to reduce emissions. 6. The oil moguls say we can't live without oil. Let me tell you the reality. Modern societies cannot quit oil overnight, but the plummeting costs and the rapid expansion of solar, wind, and other renewable energy sources shows that we can have fossil fuels behind if we choose. In many cases, renewable energy sources now cost less than fossil fuels. The notion that a healthy economy and a healthy environment can't go together is a pernicious myth that fossil fuel companies and other special interests have long promoted. 7. What about China? Other countries are worse. The US has emitted more greenhouse gases than other countries in history. China recently overtook the US as the top annual emitter. But what matters in the atmosphere is cumulative emissions, which by practice, the US and China are deemed the most responsible for climate change in terms of GHG contribution. Climate change is by definition a global challenge. It can only be tackled if all countries, and especially the big emitters like the US and China, rapidly phase out fossil fuels. 8. A temperature increase of 1.5 degrees Celsius is no big deal. Global temperatures today are roughly 1.2 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial levels. That increase has already intensified the extreme weather seen around the world. Impact will intensify the closer we get to 1.5 degrees Celsius. A temperature difference of 1.2 degrees Celsius doesn't sound like much to the average person, but the climate system doesn't work that way. Look at the punishing impact already unfolding around the world after only 1.2 degrees Celsius of temperature rise. Now just imagine what will happen if it goes beyond that. 9. Humans, plants and animals can adapt to climate change. You would agree with me that adaptation has been a hallmark of successful species for hundreds of millions of years. But there are still strict limits on how quickly and to what extent people, plants and animals can adapt. What's more, the Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism found that most people in the US, especially people under age 40, want more news about climate change. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.